What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the CaliKidOfficial Podcast. This is episode number 34, so let's get right into it. So as you can see from the t-shirt, Roman Reigns made his return, a few weeks back at the Payback pay-per-view and reclaimed his Universal Championship. He never lost the belt, and he's going with the heel roll this time, and it's a refreshing aspect to his character, and I think it's dope that he came back as a heel. The work has been more impressive, and it allows him as a character to do more things. And it's looking as though WWE is positioning him as like a Lesnar 2.0, but in a more serious type of role. He's not joking with Heyman because they're not actually friends, but I'm liking this new role that they're going with him. And it's kind of funny, like, he'll be in matches and he won't show up as soon as the match starts. He'll show up like when everybody has been worn down or towards the end of the match, and then hits his special, gets the victory, and leaves out. As his shirt says, win and then leave. Destroy everything, win and leave. So I'm liking what they're doing with him. And basically Heyman is sort of like his mouthpiece in a sense, although he does promos himself as well. Lesnar more so just sits there and be the intimidating heel guy, whereas Reigns is more so the same type of character, but he actually gives promos himself. And he basically brought Paul Heyman back. Heyman basically said that after Lesnar left, there was nothing for him, and pretty much Reigns brought him back. And at the upcoming pay-per-view, Reigns will be defending his belt against his cousin Jey Uso. I'm thinking this is going to lead to a pretty interesting set of events. Pretty sure, even though they family, but he said, I'm going to beat your ass. And he said this championship has to stay on my shoulder in order to continue to make the family proud or whatever. And I'm thinking after the match is over, Jay might be included in his new stable. So we might get the Uso family stable that has been discussed, by, people on the internet in the past. I was one of those advocates, because you have Jimmy, you have Jay, you have Nia, you have Tamina. Who else you have? Yeah, you have a variety of people that you can include in that stable. And of course, Nia is paired up with Shayna Baszler. They got the tag team belt. So this should be interesting going forward. It was going to be interesting to see where they take this character. So I thought that was pretty dope. But moving on from that into the first week of NFL games have returned. We got a variety of different quarterbacks on new teams debuted, so we'll get right into it. So my New England Patriots faced off against the Dolphins at home. Cam Newton got to make his start, and it was very, very impressive. They won 21-11. Cam Newton went 15 for 19, which is 80%, which that is very, very good for 155 passing yards, 75 yards on the ground, and he rushed for 2 touchdowns. So as I said, there was going to be a new look to the team because, you base your offense around the capabilities of your quarterback. And with Cam being more mobile, it allows the team to do more, and it also puts an added pressure on defenses. So we saw a lot of play action. We saw a lot of read option plays. And they pretty much ran the ball for most of the game. Sony Michel had got a touchdown as well. Defense played well. I didn't like all of the defensive penalties that they were getting. Particularly Gilmore was getting called for a lot of holding and pass interference penalties, but the defense finished with 3 interceptions. Gilmore had 1, Phillips had 1, and J.C. Jackson had 1. We also We also left a lot of points on the field, at least 10. Nikhil, he fumbled the ball at the goal line. So that would have been 7 right there. And then we missed a field goal, so that would have been another 3. So in all honesty, if they would have, successfully completed those plays, the score would have been 31-11 at the very least. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I'm thinking that, of course, as the season goes on, he's going to become more entrenched into the playbook. We're going to see more plays and a more developed chemistry. And next Sunday, or should I say this upcoming Sunday, we will be playing against the Seattle Seahawks. It will be the football night in America game, the game that happens at the end of that particular week. So that's going to be a true test of our team to see where we're at. But overall, I would say that the team, they played pretty well. They played pretty well. Just those errors on defense were kind of and then Cam, he's gonna have to read the defenses a bit better. There was a couple of plays where I thought he could have passed out from that play or audible to another play, but that's going to improve as the season progresses. But moving on from that into the New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, I'm pretty sure, like a lot of people, a lot of eyes was on this game because, as you know, the new quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Tom Brady. They also got a whole bunch of new weapons, Tom, Gronk, Leonard Fournette, and it's going to be a work in progress because unfortunately they lost to a tune of 34-23. Tom Brady, he finished with 23 for 36, so that's 64% at 239 yards passing. He passed for 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 picks. And he rushed for a touchdown. So now one of those interceptions wasn't on him. It was on the receiver, Mike Evans. He cut his route short, which allowed the defender to intercept the ball. But the second interception was his fault. He misread the defense and it got picked off for a pick 6. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains as, when the quarterback is introduced to a new team, as well as other pieces. It's going to take time for all those pieces to coexist and gel with each other. And we saw a lot of mental losses on the defensive side of the ball. A couple of neutral zone infractions, particularly by Ndamukong Suh. A whole bunch of penalties. You had wide receivers stopping their routes. The O-line isn't that great. They're allowing a bunch of sacks, and they even got a blocked field goal. So that team is going to be a work in progress. But I think by halfway through the season, they should have everything together. But that was pretty interesting. Of course, with week 1, everybody jumps off a cliff, especially in the media, with how they think a player is going to particularly be for the entirety of the season. And this game was the first moment for detractors of Tom Brady to say, oh, he's fallen off a cliff and all that. But I'm pretty sure they're going to get things corrected, and we'll see what happens in a rematch later in the season. But moving on from that, we also got another debut, the debut of Heisman Trophy winner and national championship winner Joe Burrow. He drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, debuted with 23 completed passes out of 36, so 64%, identical completion percentage to Tom Brady. Ironically, they threw the same amount of balls and completed the same amount as well. So when I was looking at that, their game kind of mirrored each other a lot. You look at the passing yards, he had 193, he threw a pick, and he ran for a touchdown. So the difference between the two, Brady threw for more yards, he had an extra touchdown and an extra interception. But other than that, they had pretty much the same type of game. It was a close game between the Chargers, but they lost by 3 points. But moving forward, he's looking like he's going to be a force within the league once the Cincinnati Bengals develop that offense, because they're going to be a work in progress. The Bengals haven't been great in a minute, so it's going to be a minute for them to actually put everything together. But it's looking like he's going to most likely have some staying power within the NFL. He most recently faced off against the Browns yesterday. They lost that game by, I think, 10 or 11 points, but it was competitive. It was very competitive, But the Browns, they have more experience and they have, more weapons to work with. So, you know, there's that. And then moving on from that into the NBA Conference Finals. So we're going to be getting the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets. And we have Miami versus Boston. The Eastern Conference, as you know, started earlier because teams were, finishing their games a lot faster than the Western Conference. So as of right now, Miami leads that series 2-0. At this point, it's looking like they're going to sweep Boston. So more than likely, it's probably going to be Miami versus the Lakers. I'm picking the Lakers to come out the West. The Nuggets are a good team. They've shown resiliency, to fight back from being down 3-1 to the Clippers. That was the ultimate choke job by Kawhi and the Clippers, and Twitter let them have it. Twitter let them have it. They was clowning them. Even the NBA players were cracking jokes. So that right there was crazy. But the first game between the Lakers and the Nuggets will be tonight. When you guys are watching this, that would have been yesterday. So at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's kind of weird, the Lakers games is always late in the day. I wonder why that is. But picking the Lakers to come out the West. As far as the East, I mean, Miami is looking like an unstoppable force. They've only lost one game, I believe, in the entire playoffs. So they're very hot. Now, if Boston loses game 3, I would say the series is over. So if Boston don't get everything together, it's going to be LA versus Miami. And those will be my 2 picks for the NBA Finals. So, we'll just have to see how that plays out. But moving on from that, is looking like the U.S. government is moving forward with banning both TikTok as well as WeChat. Both of these are Chinese-owned apps, and they're saying they're banning them because of threats to national security. But more so than anything, this is in tune with their trade war with China. So this is another way to mitigate them. So starting Sunday, September 20th, as announced by the Department of Commerce, TikTok will be banned, and November 12th, companies will be banned from hosting the app. So let's see here. Yeah, so right here it says TikTok and WeChat will be banned from the U.S. app stores starting on Sunday, September 20th. The U.S. DLC has announced the Chinese-owned apps from Tencent and ByteDance will not only be banned from the iOS App Store and Google's Play Store on Sunday, but companies will be barred from hosting them in the U.S. starting on November 12th. The move was taken at the president's direction, according to Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. Blah, blah, blah. The ad ban has come despite a possible partnership between Oracle and ByteDance. Yeah, because initially they were trying to get a U.S.-based company to purchase TikTok, or should I say handle the U.S. Security aspect of the app by having a U.S. company be in control of it. It was rumored Microsoft was supposed to be in on it, Walmart. The deal that Microsoft pitched was rejected, and Oracle is the last one standing, so ain't no telling if and when that deal might close, because it has to be agreed upon by not only the 2 companies involved but the respective countries that the 2 companies are linked to. So, but it says Trump said that he didn't like that deal, according to Bloomberg, while adding that he was not prepared to sign off on anything. Yeah, this ties into the trade war with China and the U.S. It says the DLC's wording makes clear that it wants the apps to disappear in the U.S. It has not only banned the apps, code, and updates, but any payments associated with WeChat. By November 12th, it will also prohibit any provision of internet hosting services enabling the functioning or optimization of the mobile application in the U.S., any provision of content delivery network services enabling the function or optimization of the mobile application in the U.S. So basically, they're closing all the loopholes that one can probably try to execute to be able to use the app. So all those people that was making money on TikTok are going to have to switch to another platform. So if you look at a similar app, Triller, this is basically in their benefit. So it says all of that means that the White House is trying to leave no loopholes that will allow access to that. And since it dropped the news on Friday with the ban going into effect Sunday, Biden and his partners will have little to no time to attempt to delay or reverse the decision. It will also force hosting services to react quickly to remove the app. Given a November 12th deadline, TikTok has 100 million users in the U.S., while WeChat has 19 million daily active users, according to Reuters. The order doesn't prevent companies from hosting WeChat and TikTok outside the US. So yeah, the app isn't going to go away. It's just not going to be able to be used in the US. So, and of course, they're going to be in disagreement with that because that's a big number. 100 million of his users are going to be wiped out. So I think if things like this keep happening, eventually we're going to be going to war with China. That's what this is looking like. Because I've also heard that some U.S. diplomat went over to Taiwan and China don't like that. So that's what this is look like it's trying to turn into. In our proposal to the U.S. administration, we've already committed to unprecedented levels of additional transparency and accountability well beyond what other apps are willing to do, including third-party audits, verification of code security, and U.S. government oversight of U.S. data security. So yeah, this was the part that the U.S. company was going to take over, but it's looking like the Trump administration doesn't want the app around, period. So ain't no telling what's going to happen going forward, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole bunch of lawsuits. Further, an American technology provider will be responsible for maintaining and operating the TikTok network in the U.S., which will include all services and data serving U.S. consumers. We will continue to challenge the unjust executive order, which was enacted with due process and threatens to deprive the American people and small businesses across the U.S. of a significant platform for both a voice and livelihoods. I mean, Oracle would make a lot of sense because I believe Oracle is involved in cloud services and all that, so they will make a lot of sense. I know Microsoft wanted to get in, but they didn't like Microsoft's proposal. This post has been updated with a statement from TikTok. It has also been updated to make clear that U.S. companies will be barred from. Yeah, so basically that's what this is. This is just another aspect of the trade war with China and the U.S., but ain't no telling. Who knows? Depending on who wins this next election, a lot of this might either stay or change, depending on who's in office. Because each side has varying interests with different places within the world. So we'll just have to see with that. But this is looking like this is just going to be a benefit to other apps in the similar field like Triller and whatnot. So there's that. But moving on from that into TV, so we get the second season of The Boys. If you not familiar, the show is basically kind of like a spoof on superheroes. Typically superheroes are identifiable, or should I say they're all goody two shoes and there's nothing wrong with them, and they're always this positive voice for the people. But in this show, it gives a more natural aspect to what a superhero will probably actually have to go through. And so there's a lot of cover-ups and scandals and all types of things going on. So that's pretty much the gist of that. At the end of season 1, we learned that that Billy's wife is still alive and that she actually had a child, which was with Homelander. So now she has a child with Homelander, and the child actually inherited his powers as well, as we learned in season 2. And we also get a new antagonist. There's a new superhero that's been introduced. Her name is Stormfront, but it's also been revealed that she could possibly be another person known as Lady Liberty, which will also suggest that she has some type of some type of youth ability, because the Lady Liberty character is, at least 80 to 100 years old. So, and she's making a very concerted attempt into undermining Homelander. And my hypothesis is that they're going to have some type of confrontation before the season is over. So, and she also has her own agenda. So there's that. And it's revealed that Becca is actually living in some type of confinement owned by Vault. They're not going to let her leave because, her child is enhanced. It's also been revealed on the show that the superheroes are made, not born. That was in due part to the boys crew leaking that information with the help of Starlight. So there's that. A-Train, which is like the equivalent of the Flash, has been kicked out of the Seven, due to him losing his powers and being affected by constantly injecting himself with the blue serum. So there's that. So overall, this season is pretty cool. There's a lot going on in this season. If you guys haven't watched the show, I suggest you guys tune in. You can watch it on Amazon. That's one of their Prime originals. So it's a pretty interesting show, and you guys should check it out. Some other shows that you guys should probably take a look at. Hannah, if you're familiar or not familiar, is basically about a girl who's basically trained from birth on up into being like this assassin type character. There was a movie about it, and so the TV show is more so a development of her character, because in the movie she's just like this rabid animal with no feeling, and she does just do things. But the TV show explores that, gives a whole background of her, as well as develop her personality, and it's pretty interesting. There's 2 seasons already, so you guys can check that out. The next season, I believe, is going to be coming out next year sometime. So that's a dope show. There's also this show called Britannia, which basically delves into what it was like during the Druidic period, in Britain, because there's not a lot known about them, so it kind of has like a fantasy type of aspect to it. It's a pretty interesting show, so you guys should check that out. Of course, you're going to have the Roman aspect in there as well. Wars and fighting, betrayal, all types of stuff in there. And then, of course, Power Book 2 Ghosts has aired. The first couple of episodes have come out. This one is basically Tariq is basically taking over the role as Ghost, pretty much, in a sense. It seems as though he's trying to reestablish some type of drug network, but he's in college at this point. We also get introduced to some new characters. Mary J. Blige, her character is that of like a queen of the mob, in a sense. And her son is like her right-hand man. He takes out the trash. So it's a lot going on in this season as well. Tasha, she's still in prison. She had a deal in place, but she didn't follow the rules of the deal, so that deal pretty much fell out, and the opposing side with Sax are basically trying to set her up to be the queen of the Ghost Empire, which we all know that that's not true. So they're basically trying to smear her due to Ghost running for the governor's position, and the whole politics aspect. They don't want to be associated with that, so they're trying to put everything on someone else. So those are the 3 shows you guys should take a look at, and that's going to pretty much do it for this week's podcast. I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you're listening on Anchor and Spotify, I appreciate you all for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you leave a like and a comment below, and until the next one, peace.